There must be some misunderstanding. There must be some kind of mistake. It rained in Tahoe and no JTR, and it's too late. Yeah, rain down on me, but no JTR. The drought of no JTR on the West Coast since '06 lives on, and the D&B post show stream starts now.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Thank you. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
But Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Lake Tahoe region, what up? Shout out Reno, Nevada. Biggest little city on the in the world. Sacramento, what up? Gorge, y'all up next. Shout out to the mountains. Shout out to the oceans nearby. Shout out to the rivers. And shout out to the stars. Cali and Nevada got it all. What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Thank you for joining the DMB post show stream live here from Connecticut. It's 2:21 a.m. But I had to stay up. I had to make sure that I had coverage for tonight. And still hoping to see if we can get Rich to get us he sent it to me right now. So Rich, who gave us a video last night, just sent me in a video. I'm going to go ahead and download that. And I want to thank Rich. There was a buddy of mine that you guys have seen out here, Jojo Pap, who typically comes on. He was supposed to be here, but things changed. He needs to go support his son, who's going to be in El Paso. He's coaching UTEP minors. He's a position coach out there. So I was going to have him live on the air, but let me go ahead as I'm starting this. Let's get the set list up. And so the big story tonight, I think that people were hoping for, is JTR. Now, it didn't happen, and hopefully the Gorge gets it. But I think here's the backstory of tonight. So there were some rainstorms that came through before the show, and these storms delayed kind of the lines at the gate. You cannot start a Live Nation show when lightning is within a certain distance of the venue. And so they're not going to open the gates and let people in until the lightning threat passes. And so, when you go to Lake Tahoe, you're not expecting rain per se like this. They do get snow up there in the higher elevations, but this was a rare occurrence where there happened to be rain in Tahoe and really rain out west. A lot of these DMB shows, there is not rain, including the Gorge, which is, despite being with 2 hours from Seattle, is in a kind of a sub-desert area. And so this was the hope of all hopes, that they would play JTR tonight, because when there is rain, they typically will throw in a JTR. Now, what we got tonight, we got Virginia in the Rain. And Dave definitely thinking about raising his kids in Virginia. Carter and other band members raising their kids, and now they're growing up. They are grown up there. So that was on his mind, but there was no JTR. And we've seen sometimes Virginia in the Rain or Fool in the Rain will come on a set list now, and JTR is not as much of a gimme as it used to be. So I do feel for those out west who were hoping to get this first JTR in the Pacific time zone since 2006, when it was played at the Gorge. That did not happen tonight here. So the other thing that I think is a storyline here is you do get a couple of songs that typically are not played at a show like this, a midweek show before the Gorge. We get a Captain pulling up here, the first ever Captain at this venue. And you also get Dive In, first ever Dive In at this venue. Matter of fact, if you can look at the set list, from Stolen Away at the 4 spot to Let's Dance at the 13 spot, every single one of those songs in that run had never been played in Stateline, Nevada at this venue. And if we go to the venue history, you can see that the band has played it 6 times now. And so there aren't, 6, still a good amount of shows in this post-Roy era. But, even in those 6 shows, a lot of new songs made their appearance, including songs like The Stone that are from the Big 3 album. You have a song like Stolen Away from Stand Up. These are songs that had been out when the band first played here. And you get a Dive In, you get a Shake Me, you get The Only Thing, which is obviously a newer song. Not a surprise, that's its first time. But to have Captain in there as well is special. And I think when you go to a show like this, one of the things, if you're watching from the East Coast live, if you're watching the next morning or later on because it was too late, I get it. Just keep in mind that the fan bases that come to a venue like Stateline, they're not going to be as hardcore. You're not going to have some people are going to go from Stateline to the Gorge, but a lot of people are already in Washington State already, or making the trek up to the Gorge. This is not really a venue that people are stopping here in high numbers and then going right to the Gorge. So this is more like a dress rehearsal for the Gorge in many ways. And so there are some deep cuts thrown in here. There are some hit songs in here. And we get a big whiskey heavy set. So for this set, we have 4 Big Whiskey songs played, and you have a very wide variety from the rarity like Dive In that shows up to some of the staples like Why I Am and or Why I Am, and then Funny the Way It Is. And then you have a song like Shake Me Like a Monkey that kind of is played nowadays. It's got 8 plays this year, but isn't played as much as it was when it first came out. And it was played and played and played some more. And so there you have it there. I'm going to pull up this video just to make sure it works. Okay, I do have it. And we have about a 2-minute video here. Also, I do want to just make this quick announcement while I have your attention. There is someone in the Dave Matthews Band community that I've known throughout the years, and she is a staple of the Deer Creek tailgate. She is the D&B granny, as we call her, and her name is Sandra Jones. Now, I want to bring to your attention a very, very difficult situation that she's going through. Her son is going through in regards to her grandson. I wanted to put this up on the screen in hopes that if anyone does see this young man, that you do call authorities. And, this is a situation where Johnny Jones, the grandson of Sandra, has been missing. He was picked up by his mother for a weekend visit. That was it. He was supposed to then go back to his father. And his mother on August 1st drove all the way up to Detroit, Michigan, from the Indianapolis area. And then there's video that the authorities have found of the mother taking him across the bridge, the walking bridge to Windsor, Ontario. So it's believed that he is in Canada. I know I have people who watch out there in various parts of Canada. He could be anywhere in Canada, but we do need to get Johnny home. So I just want to take a quick second out. If you see this person, there's a QR code right there as well. Please help Sandra, her son, and the rest of the family that is their child has been abducted by the mother, who was only supposed to have a limited period of time with Johnny. So Granny, as we call you, we're praying for you. We do hope that your grandson does find his way home, back with you and his father, which is your son, there. So I just want to throw that out there because you never know, especially my Canadian friends, the Midwestern folks, if for some reason or somehow they got back into the United States. That is Johnny Gonzo Jones, and his information is right there. Last seen physically on August 1st. There's video camera footage that ties what appears to be him and his mother crossing the pedestrian bridge to Windsor, Ontario. All right, just wanted to put that in there. Because that is just a situation that's been on my heart the last couple of weeks. So the other thing that I do want to talk about with this show is this stretch from Don't Drink the Water to Why I Am. And to me, that stretch of the show is, I think for the fans who were there, I think it's going to be a powerful, more casual, right? Fans who like the hits, you get a cover, Let's Dance. But for someone like me who goes to shows and wants, a little more in that part of just kind of, it doesn't have to be a deep cut, but just different styles of songs. I felt like this was like a big stretch of like, not for me, but again, they're playing for a certain audience. And hey, the fact they played Captain tonight, I mean, Captain gets people will start talking during Captain. And so I appreciate the band doing that. But I thought the Don't Drink to Why I Am was kind of a dead spot in this. You have Don't Drink, which it is what it is, right? But then Virginia in the Rain is a little slower. Let's Dance is a cover. 41 is improved. They've improved it with the guitar, for, Tim first, Rashawn after, but we need that sax solo. Funny the way it is. It is what it is. Crush, to me, is always too long nowadays. It needs something new. It needs just some more pizzazz. But again, these are Crush is a fan favorite. Then Kill the Preacher, Why I Am, I don't need to hear it. And again, these are fan favorites, but for those of you who love the deep cuts, who have loved some of the runs we've gotten over the last couple of years on the East Coast, this is definitely seems like a run that to me is geared towards the fan base at this show. I do want to talk about, before we get to the interview, the video review that Rich sent in. I love how the posters the last two nights have been from very popular artists and almost arguably posters that you would see a quality at the Gorge for these smaller venues. For some fans, their only show they're going to make is if they're in Mountain View, California, or if they're in Stateline, Nevada, and maybe they live 2 or 3 hours from these venues, but these are the only venues within their close proximity of where they live. And I'm saying 2 to 3 hours because out west, there's a lot of open area in between major venues or even smaller venues. So tonight's poster by James Flames and the previous show's poster by Chuck Sperry are 2 A1 posters that to me are deservedly given to venues that don't always get a top-notch coveted artist like this. And so I do appreciate the band giving some love to these venues and giving these artists a different tour stop or a different location to showcase their art. Many times you're going to get a James Flame or a Sperry at the Gorge. And in the rare run of Sperry posters, 2 of them have been at the Gorge. And so it's nice to see that these Mountain View, even though it's the Bay Area, which is heavily populated, it still is not a staple modern day venue of the band. They don't not always play Mountain View every year, and they don't always play Tahoe every year. And so it's nice to see that they did get some love here. What we're going to do now is we're going to go to Rich and hear what he had to say. And I want to thank Rich here. If you're watching Rich on the replay, thank you, because what Rich did tonight is he went live on the couch tour. He kind of was on standby and seeing if anyone else was going to stream. And a portion of the show, he streamed live on his phone, and it gave us at home a look into what was going on when there were no other feeds. Even Rab was only doing a couple of songs. I know he has a lot of work he does, but he tries to give us peeks in. But thank you to Rich for giving us some couch tour video and great sound from where he was in the venue. I know sometimes further back, the couch tour streams further back, you have less fan chatter of nearby the streamers, and you can see the full stage. And the sound hits it really well. So thank you to Rich here. Let's hear what he had to say about this show tonight.
Hey Marcus, I'm at the Caesars Casino, which hosted the DMB concert tonight. It rained for probably the first 40 minutes or so. Our rain song was Virginia in the Rain, which went into Let's Dance. Let's Dance was not a cover I like. That was probably the only downside of the set tonight. Otherwise, I liked every song, including some of the newer stuff, even though this tour has been a lot of older stuff. So opening with The Warehouse was awesome. They closed with that in LA, and I had a security guard yelling at me during that, so that kind of ruined that. But tonight was just amazing. They did What Would You Say in the Granny. There was a mid-set captain, and the 41 was probably the first highlight for the crowd. Crowd tonight, I would say, people who were prepared for the rain, stuck it out, and stayed to the end. some people clearly left early. But they played Crush tonight again. It's the second time we've heard it this weekend. And this was the best Crush I've ever heard. Carter just destroyed it. The crowd was completely into it. As far as the posters went, so I looked at the 3 posters for the whole last 3 shows. I wasn't crazy about the LA one, or the one in San Francisco was okay, but it was $100. And the one tonight was more like I don't know, Alice in Wonderland, Winnie the Pooh type of thing. It looks cool online, but in person it really pops with so many colors. So that was the one I got. Pretty happy with the set tonight, and I'm really looking forward to the Gorge. I think the Gorge is going to be awesome this year. Thanks, Marcus.
All right, I want to thank Rich for being there. And he was in the casino, the music busting, but he still got that recorded for me, and I appreciate that. Oh, you got another one? Okay, let me check in and we'll play that. I think the first half of this show, to me, is my favorite part. And like he mentioned, a song like The Only Thing with the horns at the end of that, I really think that song really shines in when you look at some of the newer DMB songs that you have in the repertoire. And so I really like Warehouse, What Would You Say, Granny. Like, I think that's a really solid opening run there, and then you get Slow Down with Stolen Away, then you go right to the Stone, you get Walk Around the Moon, Dive In, and then Shake Me, which is really quick, but then you get right to The Only Thing, Captain. Those first 10 songs to me was a whole nother level of, like, compared to the next part of it. I know he said, Crush again, Rich said he did like Crush there, and I think most fans are going to like Crush. I'm just someone who needs, at this point, I don't need a trumpet solo as long. I do like the Carter stuff at the end, and I don't know. I don't even know how I would say how would I redo Crush, but it's just there's something about it where I think it's too long. I think let me see. Even go back. Do we have time tracking on the Crush from 2 nights ago? No, we do not. Oh, what I'll do is I'll do this. So we're at 26, and Peace on Earth only repeat tonight, and really that's just kind of when they're road testing here anyway. But let's look at the Crush, because let's on this tour. Yeah, so look at these Crush numbers right here. You have like an 18-minute Crush right here. That was the longest. 1847 on June 3rd. I think that was like the longest Crush ever, I believe. But you have 18 minutes. Now 15 minutes is not, that's a little, I think that's better. And then 15:51 to 15:59. But to me, Crush, it should be, you can condense it down to 12 minutes, 10 minutes, really. You could honestly make it 10 minutes. I love the verses. I love the construction of the song. I love how it's centered around a bass part. But I do think that you need to be quality more than quantity. I don't need Rashawn to be going off for 3 hours. And even Tim, like, just give me your best stuff, pop off for a little bit, and then keep it moving. And even like I thought the LA one was pretty cool, with just some a little bit of things I hadn't really heard before at the end, before the typical da 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 da. So I would just love to see Crush condense. And again, I'm somebody who listens to songs from jam bands that are 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I just think that Crush, they're not doing enough unique things. You're running on the same chords and progressions. If they mixed it up and if they had a 20-minute Crush and in the middle of that they changed the chord progression, that's a whole different like feeling. Okay, you can go 20 minutes, but I just think it's too long. All right, let's see. We got the video here. This is Rich's second video here. So let's take a listen.
Oh, I think I forgot to mention the Stone, which was unbelievable. Song I've been chasing for 25 years or so. I mean, I'm not really a chaser, but it's, along with Crush, which is my favorite song, Stone is right there with it. And getting to hear it live was unbelievable. So thanks again. I'm glad people got to see it online. If you didn't, you can check it out on Couch Tour. And hopefully somebody will post it on YouTube. Thanks a lot.
And yeah, I did. I don't like my personal Facebook account. I did put in the chat. Congratulations to Rich getting his first stone. 25 years first stone, and I think that's one thing about what this band is doing that I really give them credit for is they could have easily taken out the Stone, taken out Captain, taken out Dive In, and thrown in 2 other covers. No Zach Brown Band. Or they could have thrown in another generic song. As much as I'm still kind of trying to see what they're doing with some of these shows and the flows, because I'll be honest, the West Coast set list flows the momentum from the East Coast is not there. But I think it's the crowd. It's the crowds. They have to play to the crowd. They can't play to your boy Conceviz 34 at home on the East Coast. And I think they're just trying to get the crowd into it by having songs like Just Dance. But I'm happy that Rich got that stone. I'm sure there were people here that had been 15 years plus who never had heard Captain at this show. Like maybe you're a West Coast fan who lives in the Tahoe region, or you live somewhere where Captain just hasn't been played and you're a fan of 10, 15 years, right? And so you weren't there for the Busted Stuff tour. And even still, Captain is such a rare song here. It was the first Captain since 2018 in the Pacific time zone. Also of note, the first Dive In since the Gorge Caravan in 2011 in the Pacific time zone. And I say this because people typically travel within their own time zone. The Pacific time zone, people who live there, unless you're a super fan or you have the means to travel cross country, which can be expensive, typically fans are going to go to the show within their region. Even if they got to catch a flight to Vegas or they got to catch a flight to Inglewood or Cali, right, in LA area to go to a show, or to a San Francisco area where Shoreline was, most fans are not going to travel. Even for DMB, most fans are not going to fly across country. Maybe they'll fly to from California to Texas, right? From one of those opening weekends in Texas that they've had over the years. Obviously not this year, but over the years. So yeah, I just think that it's great to see that they are playing this. But again, as someone who's seen East Coast shows and is looking at these West Coast shows, they look a little bit different. But again, the crowds are different. Some of these venues are not guaranteed every year. And again, they got to play to the crowd. And if you're, it's funny, even what people want is changing. And I'm somebody who's been a fan for 20 years. My first show was 2012. And so I came out to shows. I finally said, all right, I'm going to go to a show. I'm going to get over the whole bro culture, the frat boy culture that I've kind of had labeled for this band that I liked. And I fell in love with the band in 2012 when I finally went to a show. I liked the band a lot, but I fell in love with them going to a show. But nonetheless, at the time I was going to shows, Mercy was a song that was being played a lot. And now fans want Mercy and Snow Outside and Gaucho. And listen, I don't think they should be busting out all those in a single show. Like, chill. Just play Snow Outside and give me the deep cuts, right? We don't need all these other. But that's the type of stuff people want and are chasing. Someone said, I hope they play YIM at the Gorge. And it's like, it's been played so much, but people like that. And so as much as I advocate for certain deep cuts and certain things, I understand and I'm well aware that, people literally travel across country from, the East Coast to the Gorge to see Shake Me Like a Monkey. I can't explain it because you can see it in the East Coast, but people travel. I want to see You and Me. That was my wedding song, right? So you're traveling to the Gorge for You and Me. And again, maybe that's you and that's fine. But like when I think of like the reasons that I went to the Gorge, it was not to see You and Me and Shake Me Like a Monkey, but there's a lot of fans. That's what they want to hear. They just want to hear the songs they hear on the East Coast out at the Gorge, or the staple hit songs, or the overplayed big whiskey songs. They want to hear that out at the Gorge, and that's fine. I know there are many ways to enjoy this band, and some people just want to hear the hits. They want to hear the covers. Again, I don't go to see D&B for them to. I'm glad that they have fun during the covers, but I don't go to D&B shows and be like, oh, the boys got to cover this song. No, I like them covering their catalog, even if it's a song that I'm not like, it's not my favorite, because what I find is when I go to shows, there'll be a song that maybe I'm not big on at the time, and I hear it and I'm like, they really played that well. And I start listening to the song more and other live recordings, and I start to appreciate it a little more. And Funny the Way It Is a song that is kind of like that. Like, not one song I'm like, oh, I gotta hear it live. But in the last 5 or 6 years, I've kind of been like, okay, they put it away a little more. They didn't play it as frequently, and then they brought it back. And I really do appreciate some of the stuff they do in it, even though, again, I don't ever need to hear it again, but I've appreciated how they've kind of added some things to it. And I think the best thing that you can do when you have a catalog this big, when you have a band that plays different sets every night, even if there's one repeat or two repeats from the previous night, I think when you put songs away and then you bring them back, it gives more appreciation for them. And so that is what you even see with songs like Shake Me Like a Monkey, as long as it doesn't close the show. But Shake Me went away. 7 went away for a while, and it came back, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is why this song was cool when I first heard it. Because when I first heard some songs, you hear it for the first time. Like I hear 7 for the first time. I'm like, okay, it's a ba ba da da da. All right, this is in 7. The song is in 7 time. It's not in 4/4. And you're like, oh, this is cool. And then it gets played so much, and you're like, all right, I don't need to hear this again. But then it goes away and it comes back, and you're like, all right, if it's only gonna be played once every blue moon, I could rock with it. And so, yeah, that's what it is. The other thing I wanted to talk about is there's a culture of, and again, this is more of the casual fan, or not even the just the fan who's like, I'd love to hear Dave play the phone book. There seems to be, after almost every show, no matter what the set list is nowadays, that someone comes back from a show, has recency bias. They just were at the show. They just had a great time, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then people are like, oh, this should be a live Trax. This should be the next live Trax. This is the best show of the year. And I'm like, I don't know about that, boss. Okay. And here's the thing. Here's the beauty about live Trax. People can have opinions on what their favorite show would include, but live Trax specifically tries to highlight things more for the hardcore fan. There are casual fans that love, live Trax 6 from Fenway, right? And it is what it is, right? But the live Trax series really channels into fans who know the catalog well, that want some special shows that show the band in a good run, or show the band having special guests, or show the band really having a couple of more deep cuts that aren't played as heavily, and to give highlight to some of the rarer songs. And so when people someone had mentioned the Irvine show. I mean, not Irvine show. There's no Irvine show. The Shoreline show out there on Saturday. Someone's like, oh, it should be a live Trax. And I'm like, yo, let's chill right now. Let's chill. Okay. Let me go. What I want to do is I want to go to live Trax 69. And the reason I want to do this is because this is a perfect example of a show that was meant to be a live Trax, and they actually picked the right show. You could argue there's been shows in the Buddy era that were better than it, but this show has a couple of elements, including what happened tonight, which is rain. So I want to go to Live Trax 69 right here, Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. That was my 58th show. And I want to just break down why this is a great Live Trax, again, for the audience it's meant for. Does not mean a casual fan cannot buy this show or enjoy this show. But here's a couple of things that make this a Live Trax. And I think there's shows that people think should be Live Trax. They don't have these elements. So first and foremost, this show starts with a delay of 75 minutes. So you have a show where there's rain and there was lightning and all sorts of stuff. Everyone on the lawn is told to go to their cars. If you're in the lawn, go to your cars. We'll scan your tickets back in. Not going to be a big deal. Everyone in the seated areas, you can go on the concourse, which isn't really covered that well. There's a bathroom you could kind of go in, or you can stay in your seats. After that delay, the band opens up with a powerful JTR. Unlike tonight, they opened up with a JTR. Sorry, West Coast folks, right? And then after that, you get another rarity of Spoon. And then you have Recently. And then you have Walk Around the Moon. So this is a newer song. You're highlighting the title track of the latest album at the time of this Live Track 69 release. Right? And it's the first JTR opener since 2021. Then after that quick blast to the present day, they go back to Best of What's Around, Busted Stuff, Rhyme and Reason. So on the first 7 tracks, only one song is from the post-Roy era, which is Walk Around the Moon. Every other song is an old school song. It's a classic song, and most of these songs are deep cuts. Right? Then you have a Stolen Away. They slow it down a little bit. Then you have a Where Are You Going, which is one of those songs that gets all the fans, the fans who remember the hits. And you do have a Madman's Eyes. And I think one of the slower parts of this show is Stolen Away, Where You Go on Madman's Eyes. As far as like, okay, we need something big. Then you have the first Sugar Will since 2021. It's Liberated. And then you have P&P into Pig. So the momentum, the flow, and the run of this show does not stop. Then you have Anyone Seen the Bridge without so much to say. And then you have Too Much. The show slows down with a Dig in the Ditch, again, just to kind of take a deep breath. And then you have an ability to highlight a cover that has been around recently in Let's Dance. They then have a So Damn Lucky, which again is one of the more casual fans. Oh, we love this, right? But then you close out the set with The Last Stop. Now, the reek point of this, and you'll see this with certain live tracks, the encore does end with a Gray Street, which is a great song, but it's not like it's a Halloween, it's this, it's that. But you do have the first ever Just Breathe to be highlighted on a live track series. So this show has songs that hadn't been played for a couple of years. This show has the majority of this show is pre-Big Whiskey. The majority of it. And then you have, even this show does not have any songs from Big Whiskey and the Grugux King. And to me, when you take away an album that had been beaten to death since 2009, and then you just allow it for more streets and more busted stuff, and then you have some Under the Table, that makes this a show that is worthy of a live tracks. It's a unique show in a great period of time for this band last year in July of 2024. I don't think a lot of shows qualify this year to be live tracks worthy, and that's fine. They can still be good in their own right. They can still be fun, but they're not. I do think if you want to highlight, I think one of the things that would be cool is to have, maybe you have that this Homedale show be a live tracks in the future, because you have Violin by Jason Crosby, you have a What You Are opener, and you have just to show that people really, Raven pops up there as a tour debut. And you have a Dive In, which is another rarity. Here, it's been played 6 times this year, but it's still a rarity. Maybe it's this, right? And even so, this isn't one that has to be released. You could just release. I think the other thing, and I'll end on this. A lot of times people think a show should be a live tracks, where really they should be taking a song or two from that show and making it part of the warehouse disc. So the warehouse compilation disc that comes out. And when we go to the previous show, Shoreline, right? And we look at that Proudest Monkey. I think if we heard the the soundboard audio from that Proudest Monkey, we would be able to appreciate that song with Tim on nylon string guitar. I think in venue, maybe you don't appreciate just how smooth that nylon guitar is, because the mix there, the live mix in the audience with people talking, it's harder to appreciate. But when you hear the soundboard audio quality, there you go. So you don't have to put the Homedale show out on the live tracks. Just release that pig and then put that pig into the warehouse disc, put the Proudest Monkey into this warehouse disc, put some of the other special things of this year into that warehouse disc, and then that's your warehouse disc for 2026. You take some of the best moments of different shows in 2025, and you make that disc. And I think the theme of 2025 has been the band has not been repeating stuff in between one night stands. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is we have a mix of, you'll have a show that doesn't make sense flow wise, but you have a couple of deep cuts and you have a couple of hits. And some of those hits have not been played in a while, like You and Me. Some people have not gotten You and Me in a while because it went away in 23 and 24. It was not, or 24, especially 2024. You didn't really get much of it, and it's come back. Every Day has come back a little more this year. And it was in the last couple of years, it kind of died down. Right. So that's the second pillar. Is you have a mix in the same show. You can have these crazy deep cuts, and you can have some of these, like you can have a stretch of just like hit songs all together, where typically they're split up. Right. And then what you have with this current tour is you have a band that is really trying to keep us on our toes with how they open a show, how they close a show, a main set, how they close an encore. They're really keeping us on our toes. So you could take highlights of those elements and put it into they could really make a double disc for this tour, or just make one disc, make a 12 track, warehouse disc, would just take some of the best moments of this year. And that could even be a 2026 tour sampler, right? Or, for next year, a hype up for next year. But I think a lot of people are saying these shows should be live tracks for 2025. I'm like, no, you could take one or two moments from a show and consider it for a warehouse disc. But a lot of shows, like I think 2023, July of 23, other parts of 2024, and even like the Gorge 2021, the alternate format, those, like there's other things that should be live tracks before some of these 2025 shows here. So there we go. All right. That's pretty much going to be it. I need to get some sleep. I need to rest up for the Gorge weekend, but I'm excited to have coverage from the Gorge. Well, not coverage from the Gorge, but covering this from home. If you want to be on the post-show stream, let me know. I'll try to see who is interested and maybe even try to rotate some people in that haven't been ever on this stream that want to talk and share. But I'm looking forward. These are, from what we're being advertised, the final 3 Dave Matthews Band shows of the year, which I believe they're the final 3, barring a charity event or a one-off show to raise funds for some certain cause. The full band, well, I don't see them coming back together. There is just not any sort of evidence showing that there's a fall tour. There were holds, there were rumors, but that stuff has died down. And as I reported earlier this year, Live Nation said these are the only shows of 2020, only shows of 2025 at the time. So you had some stuff before it, but this is it. Everything that's announced, that's it. And I believe it. So you guys can keep saying, I'll wait until they announce it. But guys, I don't see there being a tour for the fall. And as they should take time off. In my opinion, they deserve time off. For all the work they've put in since the pandemic, this band has been doing a lot. I mean, to tour every fall from 2021 to 2024 is phenomenal. Even though some of these tours have been smaller and they've been really around the same areas, Mohegan and MSG really being locks for most of these years. I still think they deserve some time off here. They've been working hard. They went to Europe last year and then did a whole summer tour. This year they went to Brazil in the middle of their summer tour. And so they've been putting work in, and they deserve some time off. And if they want to do Dave and Friends, Dave and Tim, Jeff is already signed on for the Flecktones tour. I think that's great for them to look at some other things. And then next year, get back together and see what's popping, rumors of the Sphere and maybe, summer tour. We'll see. It's a big year because it'll be the 35th anniversary of the band, a book coming out as well to kind of document the band, and Suzette is doing that. So we'll see what happens. But that's pretty much it. I will be working on projects. I got SPAC working on. The Big Sky one may be delayed until like September, like the first week of September. But I'm working on trying to get that out to you guys. And it's your boy Conceviz34. We are at the end of the road. Like Genesis, at a certain crossing point when they became a trio, and then there were 3 shows left for the full band in 2025. It's your boy Conceviz34. Let's dive in to the empty ocean with this closing montage video made by your boy Conceviz34 in the 757. That's where my family's from, my dad's family. Stand up all the way from Bad News, Virginia, all the way down to Chesapeake. Shout out to the 757. I love y'all. That is a home away from home for me personally there. So let's close out with Dive In, showing scenes from Virginia Beach. It's your boy Conceviz34. Peace.
Try to look busy till the light turned green. Now I saw it there on TV, and his friends were all drowning, 'cause their homes were turning to water. A strange kind of sad big old bear, I'm sure it would happily eat me, tear me to pieces, not bear. Wake up, sleepyhead, I think the sun's a little brighter today. Smile and watch the icicles melt away and see the water rising. Summer's here to stay, and all those summer games will last forever. Go down to the shore, kick off your shoes, dive in the empty ocean. Tell me everything will be okay if I just stay on my knees and keep praying. shore, kick off your shoes, dive in the empty ocean. One day, you think we'll wake up in the world on its way to getting better, and if so, can you tell me? Twisting